In this video, I'm going to be answering how long do hard-boiled eggs last? And stay tuned till the end because I will go through some alternative methods of storing eggs. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. So keeping eggs fresh has always been a challenge. Less than 100 years ago, refrigeration was a luxury for the rich. So keeping eggs fresh relied on ingenuity and the staples of the house. So let's go ahead and answer the question, how do you hard-boil an egg? Have you ever tried to peel a fresh hard-boiled egg? If your eggs are real fresh, it's almost impossible. The shell clings so tightly to the egg that you end up with an egg that looks like it has been half eaten. Either that or you throw them across the room in frustration. It was a long time before I found the secret to fresh hard-boiled eggs, and today I'm going to share it with you. Steaming the eggs is the secret. Place your eggs in a steaming basket in the saucepan with enough water to come to the bottom of the basket. I generally do a dozen at a time. Cover the pan, turn on the heat and bring to a boil. Reduce heat, but ensure that water is still boiling and steam is rising. Once the water is boiling, set your timer. For small bantam size eggs, this should take about 20 minutes. And for large chicken eggs, this should take about 25 minutes. After the time is up, pour out the hot water and replace it with cold water. Repeat again and add lots of ice to the water. You want to shock the eggs. When they are cool, you can peel them. Start by rolling them across a hard surface to help shatter the shell, then peel under running cold water. They still take a little patience to get them started, but once you get in the groove, you will have them done in no time. Now let's get into the part where I actually talk about how long these eggs last. Hard-boiled eggs with their shell still on will last 1 week in the fridge. Put them in a container and date them so you can remember when you cooked them. Place them in the back of the fridge so they stay cool. Eggs that have their shell off last between 5 and 7 days. These eggs should be kept in cool water and you should change that daily or put them in a container with a damp towel over them. If they start to feel a little slimy, toss them out. It's important to keep them at a stable, cool temperature as they will last a little longer. Now let's talk about how to correctly store hard-boiled eggs. The worst possible place is to store the eggs in the refrigerator door. I can remember back in the days when the refrigerator came with a special egg compartment in the door. The door is subject to a wide variety of temperature change every time you open and close it. You should store eggs, fresh or otherwise, in a carton or container on a shelf in the middle of the fridge and closer to the back than the front. This makes sure the eggs are kept at a more constant temperature and therefore not as likely to go off. Hard-boiled eggs don't do well in the freezer. They turn rubbery and a bit slimy, which is very unappetizing. Now let's get into some alternative methods of storing these eggs. But before I get into that, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also subscribe to our website, thehappychickencoop.com. If you subscribe using the link in the description, you'll receive a free ebook on the 10 best egg-laying chicken breeds. All right, so the first method is pickling. These are a yummy treat and simple to make. Pickling your eggs will extend their lives to around 4 months, after which time they tend to get a bit rubbery. The next option is refrigeration, which we've already talked about. Now, here in the US and Canada, all eggs should be refrigerated. Now, why is that? To combat salmonella and other nasty little bugs that might make you sick. The United States Department of Agriculture states that all eggs should be power washed to remove dirt and organisms. Sounds great, but the washing also removes the protective bloom on the egg, allowing easy access into the egg for bacteria after they've been washed, so refrigeration is necessary. Some farming concerns here in the US have started a group of farmers that have been vaccinating their flocks to prevent salmonella, but still the eggs have to be washed according to the USDA. In the UK and many other countries, eggs are often stored on the counter at room temperature. Most UK and European flocks are vaccinated for salmonella, so the egg is safe to eat at room temperature because the bloom is retained. The next option is freezing. At the height of the egg laying season, my wife does freeze a couple dozen eggs, which she uses later for baking. It's a good way to preserve some of those extra eggs for later times when eggs are harder to come by. Freezing eggs does alter the texture somewhat. They're only fit for baking as they lose their freshness very easily. You can freeze the whole egg. Just basically what you would do before freezing is just beat all the eggs together like you would if you were making scrambled eggs. I use a large ice cube tray to freeze them in. Be sure to coat the tray with a little cooking oil, otherwise they stick like glue. Eggs can be stored for up to 1 year in the freezer. You cannot freeze shell on eggs. Now let's talk about some other methods of storage and prep. If you don't have or want a refrigerator, how would you store eggs? Well, our great grandparents were very inventive and some folks still use these methods today. It's worth mentioning that all these methods call for fresh, unwashed eggs. Supermarket eggs are a no-no. The first option, salt packing. You can stand fresh shell on eggs in salt layers. Make sure they are stored pointed downward and that they don't touch each other. Cover with salt and continue to pack the eggs. The storage area should be above freezing and dry. It is said that they will keep for several months. The next option is brining. In a pan, place a quart of water and heat. Add salt until the water will no longer dissolve the salt, which is around 1/8 of a pound. Place eggs very gently into a quart jar, and when the brine has cooled, pour slowly over the eggs. Place a plastic lid on the container and store in a cool place. The brining process will take about 3 weeks, and the eggs should keep for several months. The next option is called century eggs. Sounds intriguing, doesn't it? Well, they aren't quite a century old, nowhere near in fact, but they are a Chinese delicacy. The traditional way of making pidan or century eggs was time consuming, so modern science has sped up the process. The eggs soak in a mixture of salt, calcium hydroxide, and sodium carbonate for 10 days. Once removed from the mixture, the aging process begins. The eggs are wrapped in airtight plastic for 15 weeks or more. They are now ready for consumption. The yolk has now turned to a gray-green creamy consistency, and the white is now a dark brown salty jelly. The whole thing smells quite strongly of ammonia. Enjoy. Now let's talk about the hard-boiled egg nutritional information. Now we all know that eggs are good for us, but just how good are they? This information is based on one large egg. So as far as protein goes, it's 7 grams. Fats, just 7% of the recommended daily amount. Next is cholesterol, which is 187 milligrams, which is about 62% of your recommended daily amount. And sodium, 63 milligrams. And potassium, 63 milligrams. Vitamin A, it is about 5% of your recommended daily dosage. And then calcium, 2% of your recommended daily dosage. And iron, 3%. Eggs also contain vitamin D, B complex, phosphorus, selenium, riboflavin, choline, and carotenoids. And they also contain lutein and zeaxanthin. All these combine to give you a healthy boost of nutrition. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to check out this one over here. That's going to do it for us at the Happy Chicken Coop YouTube channel. If you find our content interesting, if you learned something new, like this video, subscribe, share it with your friends. And with that, I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.